The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our last week of this batch. So we have Azhar, Kamesh, Karthik, Sai, Subhajit, Venkat. I welcome you all. Just want to confirm, guys, that you can see my screen properly and the audio is proper. Thank you. Thanks for confirming, Subhajit. In today's session, we would be mainly focusing on the database. But before that, we have to cover the KMS, the key memory service, because we had discussed the IAM in our previous week. Now, in this week, we would be covering the KMS, the database options, and if the time permits, we'll cover a few of our management tools. All right. Now, to start with, we'll discuss our KMS first. Just give me 1 second over here. Unfortunately, I don't have the slide for the KMS, but I will just explain it. It's a very small topic. Kamesh, I think we have covered the CloudFront. If I can recall, the CloudFront has been covered. I'm not sure other guys can confirm. Might be it has skipped from my mind, but as per my knowledge, if I can recall, the CloudFront has been covered. Yeah, it has been done. Might be you. I think you're referring to CloudFormation, because of these two names look like they sound like familiar. Okay, we have to do the CloudFormation. CloudFront has been done. No worries, Kamesh. It's all right. Sometimes even I get confused with the names. It's fine. Now, in our previous session, we had discussed our IAM, that stands for Identity Access Management, which is used to create users, groups, roles, and policy, and so on. Now we have created all these 5 users, roles, policies, and all these things. We have discussed that. This underneath, you can see one thing which says encryption keys. This is called the KMS. In the real sense, this is the KMS or the key management service. Now you have 2 types of keys. The first one is the default master key. And the second one that you create by yourself is called the CMK, customer master key. So you use any one of these 2 keys to encrypt the data for EBS volumes, S3 buckets. So any kind of objects that you upload, you can encrypt that to the KMS. You can use the same for the import-export snowball, and also you can use that in the Redshift. Now once you go to the encryption keys, you can see over here, welcome to the AWS Key Management Service. And you just click on Get Started Now. But you can just see the definition over here. The AWS Key Management Service is a managed service that makes it easy for you to create and control the encryption keys used to encrypt your data. The AWS Key Management Service is integrated with other AWS services, including Amazon EBS, S3, and Redshift, and others, to make it simple to encrypt your data with encryption keys that you manage. So we click on Get Started Now. Now the encryption keys that we have to create by ourselves, they are specific to our region. For example, if I choose North California over here, I can use the encryption keys that I create within this region. And for example, this is the one I just created, this DMS. So I can use that within the Northern California only, or to encrypt the data in the Northern California. So any keys that you create, they are used within the specific region. You can't use the North California key for a North Virginia region, or to encrypt the data in the North Virginia. It's not possible. So at the top, I just click on Create Key, and I have to type in the alias and the description of it. So I just name it as, for example, I want to use this key to encrypt my financial data. So just name it as financial underscore key. I copy and paste the same thing in the description, or I'll just type in this key is to encrypt my confidential files. So once I type in the alias and the description, so you just choose a KMS and click on Next Step. Now in our previous session, we had created few IAM users. Now you have to choose that who would be the administrators. Now, for example, I choose Chris and John as the administrators for this key that I'm just going to create right now. These administrators will have the power to create, rotate, delete, and modify this key. And if I check mark this option, these administrators can also delete this key. So I choose Chris and John. They are the users that I created on my management console under IAM, and they will act as the administrators. Okay. So when you choose Chris and John, I hit on Next Step. Now I need to choose the users who can use this key to perform the encryption. For example, I choose all my sub-account holders who can use this key to perform the encryption in their own accounts. So they can use the same key to perform the encryption, or they can decrypt the same. They can use the same key to decrypt the data. So they would be the people who can use this key. So over here, I define the key usage permissions. Once I do that, you need to click on Next Step. It will generate a policy in the JSON format. You hit on Finish. So it says on the top, your master key was created successfully, alias financial underscore key. Now you can see this, you can use the same key to perform the encryption of your data. Let's do one thing. Let's go to our storage and content delivery and open S3. If I don't have the bucket created, I'll just create a new one from scratch and just try to encrypt a data while I upload it. Yes, Kamesh, we can also use for the APS. So right now I have this bucket created. I right click on this one, click on upload, and click on add files. So for example, if I try to upload any one of the files over here. Okay. And hit open. Then before I can upload this file, I'll just go to the bottom right corner where it says set details, where you can see my cursor. And now I need to click on use server-side encryption and check mark this option. Now you have to use either the Amazon S3 service master key, which is there by default, through which you can encrypt your data, or you can use an AWS key management service master key. And the one that you can see over here, AWS/S3, this is the default master key. Once you click over here, I would choose the financial key that we just created and click on start upload. So now as this object is being uploaded, it would get encrypted using the same key. If I check the properties of this object and go to the details, you can see over here, server-side encryption using AWS KMS master key is called the financial key. All right. So this is about the KMS or the key management service. Any questions, any doubts? So you may expect one question in the certification. So KMS is used to generate the keys to perform the encryption of your data for your EBS volumes, S3 buckets, or Redshift. Kamish is saying, how can we use this for decryption? Kamish, the person can, if he wants to access the data, he should have the usage permissions for the same key. Okay, in that case, he can use the same key to decrypt the same data. Okay. All right. So that's about the KMS. Now we will start with our database options, and to start with, we're going to discuss the RDS, which stands for Relational Database Service. Amazon Relational Database Service, or Amazon RDS, is a web service that makes it easier to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in the cloud. It provides cost-efficient, resizable capacity for an industry-standard relational database and manages the common database administration task. Amazon RDS manages backups, software patching, automatic failure detection, and recovery. Now, the best part of the RDS is that the entire day-to-day administration and the maintenance task for your databases is being performed automatically. Whether it's creating the backups, so that the backups to the S3 buckets are continuous and incremental, they're automatic in nature. It will perform the automatic software patching, automatic failure detection, and recovery. Okay. So this is a very brief overview of the RDS. We're going to deep dive in and see some of the access scenarios. Now, once we go back to our management console, I will perform two simple configurations before we can start discussing few more concepts on the RDS or deep dive in. First thing first, I go to the RDS again, On the left side, we can see over here, we have subnet groups. Now, whenever you create, or before you can deploy your database instances, it's quite necessary that you have a subnet group created beforehand. I just let you know what's the relevance of the subnet groups. So before we do that, I click over here and click on Create DB Subnet Group. Okay. So once I click on Create DB Subnet Group, I just type the name over here. I just name it as Test Subnet Group. I copy and paste the same thing in the description. I choose my VPC ID. And now I can add different subnets associated with different availability zones. So I need to just change my region. By mistake, I just picked my North Virginia region. Okay, so I already have the subnet group created. Let me just delete that. Okay, I think my instance is running. Okay, so there's one database instance that's running at the back end. Let me just get rid of it. Okay. Okay, no worries. On the top, I just click on Create DB Subnet Group. And I will name it as DB Subnet Group. DB Subnet Group. Now I need to select the VPC. I choose my default one, and I select the associated availability zone and the subnet, and click on Add. Or I can just click on Add all subnets. It will add all the subnets and the associated availability zones in the list down here. So now I just go ahead and click on Create, and this will create my subnet group. Now, what's the purpose and the relevance of the subnet group inside our architecture? What's the reason that we created it? The first purpose behind creating a subnet group is that we want to select the subnets inside our VPC that can support our database instances. That's our first reason. The second reason is that we want that if any one of the availability zone goes down, then we can route our database traffic to a standard replica database in a separate availability zone. There is a concept which is called multi-easy. Multi-easy means that you have a main database instance running in one of the availability zones. Let's assume that this main database instance is running in US+1 bay. Now, whenever you choose this multi-easy as your preferred failure option, it will automatically create a standard replica of the database in a separate availability zone, which is in 1C. So this is your main database instance, and this is your backup or the standard replica of the database. Now, this will not come into the action as of now. It's a kind of an active passive mode. This main database instance will take the entire database traffic. All right. Now, let's suppose that due to some maintenance or due to some easy failure, this entire database instance goes down. In that case, there will be a seamless routing of the traffic, of the database traffic, and this backup database instance will take on the entire database traffic. It would be a standard replica of this database, a duplicate copy, and as soon as the main database instance goes down, the backup instance comes into the action and start taking the database traffic. So that's the concept of multi-AZ. Once this instance comes back up, this database instance, it's quite obvious that it will switch over to back to the main instance. So that's why we created DB subnet group, because when we launch our DB instances or database instances, we will choose that, okay, USWS1B will hold our main database instance. Then it's quite obvious that USWS1C would hold your backup database instance. So that's why in the DB subnet group, we choose a group of subnets that will hold my database instances, whether they are the main database instances or they are the backup ones. Okay, that's why we go with that. Azure is saying, does this mean we will have no data loss at the stage? No, Azure. Reason being, the reason being this: if I have two database instances running, even though one is active, these two are binded with the DNS. Okay, so the entire database traffic from my instances is going towards the DNS. So during the failover procedure, there's no data loss, because these two database instances are being binded with a single domain name. So even if there are some active sessions, there will be no loss in the data. All right. And there's another question. Kamish is asking, who routes the traffic to another AZ? Now, Kamish, this is automatic. This happens automatically. Okay. It is just that we have to perform the initial configuration. This is a completely automatic thing that happens by itself. Okay. Now, once we create our DB subnet group, it's time for us to move further. So I'd save this now. Yes, Kamesh, your question is this limited to same region? Yes, this is limited to same region. It is quite obvious that you will never scatter your database instances across different regions, because it will induce a high amount of latency. The reason being, the regions are not logically connected to each other. There's no physical connection between different regions. So if you're trying to replicate your database instances across different regions, it will be done across or through the internet. So this means there will be a great level of latency in between. So this feature, it's only limited to the same region upon different availability zones. Okay. So this thing we have accomplished. The next thing that we have to do is we have to open our VPC dashboard, or we can open our instance dashboard, whatever it's feasible. So I open the VPC, and I will just create two different security groups. I will let you know why. So on the left side, I click on security groups under security, and I have these two security groups created. Let me get rid of them. Okay. All right, no worries. So I create one security group for my database instance. So I just name it as DB S3. And in the description, I was type in this security group is for our database instances. And I choose my default VPC. So this is a security group that I'm just going to create right now. This will be assigned to all the database instances that will be running inside my default VPC. I click on Yes Create. Now I create another security group that will be named as EC2 instances S3. This security group is for our web instances. So this security group is purely for the web instances, for the EC2 instances. I just choose my non-default VPC, default VPC, and click on Yes Create. So over here, I created two different VPCs, one for the EC2 instances and one for the database instances. So we'll discuss that or use these security groups in our access scenarios. So over here, we will discuss that how we can incorporate or how we can involve the database instances inside our architecture. So these are the 6 access scenarios that we're going to discuss one by one. Starting with the first access scenario, which is the most common that's being deployed. Over here, the DB instance and the web instance or EC2 instance, they reside in the same VPC. Now, it's quite obvious, we have also discussed this point before, that the two instances or two components that reside in the same VPC, they can send or receive the traffic to each other without any hassles or without any restrictions, because of the default route table entry, there's a free access or free traffic flowing to and fro between different instances running in the same VPC, regardless of the fact which subnet they belong to. Now, we want to impose certain restrictions upon that, because I want that my database instance should only receive the traffic from the web instances only. There should be no other source apart from the web instances inside of my VPC that is supposed to send the traffic to my database instances. Now, to accomplish or to achieve this kind of security, we create a VPC security group that our DB instances or database instances will be in. We create a VPC security group that our EC2 instances or web instances will be in. And then we will create custom rules in the security group for our DB instances that allow the connections from the security group you created to your EC2 instances. Now, what do you mean by that? We can imagine that these security groups are nothing more than the containers. For example, let me just take the pen. I create one container. This container, I would name it as EC2 S3 or EC2 security group, and this security group would be assigned to all my web instances inside my VPC. On the right side, I create my DBS3, my database security group. This would be assigned to all the database instances running inside my architecture. Right. Now, I want to facilitate the port access in such a way that I would be saying that this database security group should receive the traffic only from the EC2 security group. Instead of defining the traffic inbound between individual instances and databases, I will go in a very easy way, and I would say that my DB S3 should receive the traffic only from the EC2 S3. Now, this EC2 S3 is being assigned to my web instances, and DB S3 is being assigned to my database instances. In a nutshell, I'm trying to achieve one simple thing, that my database that my database instances that have been assigned the database security group should receive the traffic only from the instances that have been assigned the EC2 security group. That's my main purpose. All right. So I'll just let you know how we can just apply that in a practical scenario. Subhajit is saying we can use the route table also for the same. Subhajit, the route tables are mainly used for communicating with external networks. Okay, you will mainly use the route tables if you want to route the traffic from VPC towards the internet or from your VPC toward your data center. So the route table help you to collaborate with different external networks. Right now, this entire thing is happening within the same network. So that is the main difference over here. Now we'll just apply that in the real-time situation and see that how this thing can be configured. I go back to the management console and I choose the DBSG. Once it is chosen, I start defining the inbound rules. I would say that, for example, the MySQL traffic should come. The MySQL traffic, it communicates over port 3306. It should come from the source EC2 instances S3 that we created. I add another rule. I would say, for example, all ICMP traffic. What is that? Yeah. It should come from the EC2 instances security group. I add another rule. I will say all UDP traffic should come from the EC2 instances security group. Right? So this DBSG that will be assigned to my database instances will only receive the traffic from this security group that will be assigned to my web instances. So this makes my my administration easier. I don't have to go to the individual database instances or EC2 instances and start defining the one-to-one traffic by creating multiple security groups or multiple rules. All right. So that's how we achieve our access scenario 1. Kamesh is saying you're not able to hear me. I'm not sure, guys, whether you're facing the same trouble. Kamesh, is it fine now? Not sure. Okay, it might be some network glitch at the back end. Okay, yeah, might be we lost in between. So we were discussing that I created this security group, this DBSG, and in the inbound rule, I allowed these kind of traffics from the EC2 instances security group. All right. In our access scenario 2, now this is more relevant to our option of EC2 Classic. If you can recall, we had done the option of EC2 Classic, which helps us to launch the instances outside the VPC. Right? Now, let's suppose that you go for the EC2 Classic. In the EC2 Classic, you have launched instances or instance, the web instance, outside the VPC. Now, this is outside the VPC. Whereas your deep instance is inside the VPC. Now you have to establish a connection between these two components using this concept of classic link. Using this concept of classic link. Now, I don't have any older account before December 2013, otherwise I would show you that. With older accounts that were created before December 2013, you can still see this option or still access this option. But I would say that this is now not frequently used option, so it is an FYI. All right. Yeah, Kamesh, in Classic, we don't use any kind of web inside the virtual private cloud. Our third access scenario. Over here, your web instance and the database instance reside in separate VPCs. Now you can further segregate this scenario in two different parts. Either these two different VPCs are in the same region, or they belong to different regions. If they are in the same region, you will use the same concept of VPC peering that I've discussed before. If they belong to different regions, you will use the public IP of the DB instance. You will use the public IP of the database instance. So over here, you have to break the protocol or break the rule that the database instance should only reside inside the private subnet. That thing has to be surpassed now because it's not applicable over here. You're bound to keep your database instance reside inside the public subnet. The DB instance must allow the public access, must be in a public subnet, and the subnet must have an internet gateway. You have to set the publicly accessible option to yes. Now I will show you how you can choose this option. You have to choose it. You have to select this option to yes, so that your DB instance becomes publicly accessible. All right. Now the question may be asked: if you're bound to keep your database instances inside your public subnet, what about the security? Now you have proper security groups and access controls in place, where you will allow the incoming traffic only for the known IP addresses only. So in that case, you can ensure that even if you are bound to keep your database instances inside the public subnets, still you have these security groups or the access control list to apply the security. All right. Any questions so far? I think we can now understand that how to involve or I would say incorporate our database instances inside our architectures. Kamesh is saying, which is company standard in production? I guess you're asking the question which one is mostly used. The first access scenario is being used frequently. Yeah. So the first access scenario. Because from my perspective, this is a big design disaster. If you have different components in different regions, this replication is happening over the internet. So there will be a hell lot of latency in between. So this is a very, very, I would say, least common access scenario that you will use. So the first one, where both the components are in the same VPC, that's more feasible. It's commonly used, and also I would say that it can be deployed and managed easily. Scenario 4, where DB instance is in a VPC that is accessed by a client application through the internet. All right. Now over here, the DB instance resides in the subnet that is public. It is over here. You mean to say your administrators wants to access your DB instance through the internet connection. So in that case, you have to keep your database instance inside the public subnet, and it's quite obvious that you have to attach internet gateway and associate the internet gateway through the route table. Over here, you want to ensure that the client or any of your administrator can access your VPC to the subnet. To the internet connection. But yes, you can allow the incoming connection from the known IP addresses only to impose the security restrictions. In our scenario 5, the DB instance is not in a VPC, which is accessed by an EC2 instance in a VPC. Now it's the same option of EC2 Classic, where the DB instance is residing outside the virtual private cloud, whereas the web instance is inside the VPC. So you have to ensure in this case that the web instance is in a public subnet. You have to ensure that the RDS DB instance was marked as publicly available when it's created. You have to check for access control list and security group, and you have to add the necessary ingress rules to the DB security group for the RDS DB instance. Okay, so that the database instance can receive the traffic only from the known web instances. The last scenario, it is same thing which is applicable for our this EC2 Classic. You have to ensure that the RDS DB instance is publicly accessible. You have to ensure that the DB security group for the RDS DB instance includes the necessary ingress rules for a client application to connect. Okay. So you have to, if your RDS DB instance is running outside the VPC, you have to mark it as publicly accessible. Now, once we launch this RDS DB instance, I will show you this option. And you have to ensure that the proper security group and the access control list are in place so that it receives the inbound traffic from known IP addresses only. All right. So these are the 6 access scenarios that we have discussed. Any questions, any doubts? I'm pausing for a few seconds. Just in case if you have any questions, you can let me know. I guess we don't have any questions as of now. Okay. So let's move further and launch our RDS DB instance. Now these are the steps that we have to follow to launch our DB instance from scratch. The first step is that we have to create a VPC. Now we already know that. And if we have a default VPC, then there's no need to create the VPCs from scratch. Step 2, adding subnets to a VPC. It's not required at this point of time. Step 3, creating a DB subnet group. We already done that. Step 4, creating a VPC security group. That's been done. We created 2 different security groups, one for the DB instance, one for the EC2 instance. Now we have to follow the 5th step, which means we have to create a DB instance in a VPC. So I shoot back to the management console and I go to my RDS console, the dashboard, click on instances, and click on launch DB instance. These are the different DB engines for you to choose. These are the different DB engines. Now I will go with the MySQL DB engine, MySQL database engine, and I click on select. Kamesh is saying which one is free. All these are free. All these are free. Okay. Because you get the one RDS DB instance free, but I'll just let you know that which is the option you have to go for. On the top, you get this message. Do you plan to use this database for the production purposes? You have two options over here: production, dev, and test. If you choose the production, it will not come under the free tier. In that case, you have to go with the multi-easy deployment and the provision IOPS. If you want to choose that or run this instance, this database under the free tier, you have to choose the second option, which is dev test. This option comes under the free usage tier. Now, I go with this option and click on next step. Now, in the free tier, you can see what are the limitations that you have to keep in mind. The Amazon RDS free tier provides a single DB T2.micro instance as well as up to 20 GB of storage. So this is the instance type, and this is the storage that you get. So now, I scroll down. You can see the DB engine version, it's MySQL. I will keep it selected. The license model, it's only one for the MySQL database engine, that is general public license. The DB engine version, I will stick to default. Otherwise, you can choose any one of this, any of one in the list over here. The DB instance class, I will choose db.t.micro, which comes under free tier. Multi-easy deployment. So I discussed the multi-easy deployment, that it helps you to achieve the failover if the DB instance or the entire availability zone goes down. Now, since this is a free tier usage I'm using right now, I'll hit now. In the general purpose SSD, in the storage type, I will choose general purpose SSD. In the allocated storage, I'll keep it as 10 GB as of now. If you are going, if you want high performance, it's quite obvious that you'll go with the provision IOPS. Now, once you scroll down, in the settings, you have to assign a name and identify to your database instance. So I select this MySQL West1DB. In the username, I just type in my username and the password to access my database, and I click on next step. Now I need to configure the advanced settings. I will select my default VPC, the subnet group that we created beforehand. This is quite important, publicly accessible, which is set to no as of now. If you want this database instance to be accessed from the internet, please choose yes. Otherwise, if it's no, you can't access it. So I choose yes over here. Availability zone. Right now it is set to no preference. I can choose 1B or 1C. Now, let's suppose if I had chosen the multi-easy in the previous option or the previous window, and if I had chosen 1B as my preferred availability zone, in that case the main database instance is supposed to be launched in 1B, and based upon the subnet group I have chosen, it will create a separate or a standard replica of the database in the availability zone 1C. In the VPC security group, I'll choose my DBSG, my database security group. Under the database options, I will just type in the name of my database. By default, for the MySQL, the database port will be 3306. There's no need to change the parameter group, option group. Once you scroll down, this is quite important. We have to choose a backup. Now, by default, and it's automatic in nature, the past 35 days backup will be created and saved to the S3 bucket in the form of snapshots for the past 35 days. So anytime, if you choose 35, so anywhere between 35, the past 35 days window, you can restore the snapshot and or the entire database. This is called the backup retention period. Now, once you choose a backup retention period, for example, in my case, I choose 20 days. The backup window should it's set to be no preference. It is always advisable that you choose a backup window. Why? Because it's been seen that whenever the backup of your databases is being created automatically, the databases, they tend to become sluggish and slow. So during the backups being created, you may experience the slowness of the database instances. Therefore, it's advisable that you select a window and you choose one of the hours that you think it's non-office hours and you expect very least database traffic during these hours, and you select the duration. Okay. Now once you scroll down, you have to choose monitoring and click on enable enhanced monitoring. Now your RDS DB instances are also being monitored by the CloudWatch. They are being monitored by the CloudWatch. If you choose to no, it would come under the standard monitoring of 5 minutes. If you choose yes, it will come under the category of enhanced monitoring, and you can choose a 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, depending upon how frequently you want the monitoring to be done. But I'll just choose to no and stick to 5-minute frequency. The maintenance, you can also set your DB instance to automatically upgrade itself, apply the patches, and so on. In this case, it's always advisable that you choose the maintenance window, because it's quite obvious that during the maintenance or when it's trying to upgrade itself, in that very case, most likely it will go down. So you choose any one of the non-office hours where you expect no or the least amount of database traffic. Now this is where the multi-AZ comes into the action. Even if the main database is, even during the maintenance, if the main database instance goes down, it will quickly replicate or switch over to the standby replica database. And it's quite obvious that for the standby replica database, you will choose another separate window to avoid any kind of coincidence where both your database instances goes down. Okay, so you will choose a different maintenance window for your standby or the backup database. Now, once you move further, just click on launch DB instance. Okay, these are colliding, so I'll just choose no as of now. I click on launch DB instance, and now this launches my RDS DB instance. It will take around 5 minutes for this DB instance to be up and running, and I can see the endpoint over here. All right, so that's how you launch your RDS DB instances. Any questions, any doubts? No questions? It will take some time for this RDS DB instance to be up and running. I'm just pausing for a few seconds just in case you have any questions. You can just let me know. Just give me a second over here. I think we don't have any questions right now. Okay, Azure has a question. In this example, we're having MySQL. What are the other DB instances in free tier account? Azure all are under the free tier. You can choose any one of the database engines. The only thing is that you have to choose the category of dev-test or /test. Okay. Kavish is saying after we create the DB instances, can we increase the size or attach another EBS? Azure, we can increase its size. We can now the concept of EBS doesn't works over here because EBS is for the instances, web instances. Of course, we can increase the size of it. We can do that. Once this gets created, I will show you that option because right now it's in boot up state, so I can't modify it as of now. We can increase its size. Okay, we can go to instance actions, and I can click on modify and increase its size. Right now it's booting up. I will show you that option. All right. Now this will take some time. In the meantime, we can do one thing. We can take a break. Kamesh is saying, does this have another storage disk? No, Kamesh. It doesn't has another storage disk. I'm not sure what's working at the back end, but we don't provision the disk for the databases from our end. All right. Yes, of course, we choose the provision IOPS, general purpose SSD, magnetic by itself. That's a different thing. But we can't allocate different disk as we do in the web instances. Okay. So let's take a break for 15 minutes. You guys can refresh yourself. Once we come back, we're going to discuss more on the RDS. All right. So it's a break for 15 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. I guess all people are back now. We can start our session. Now, as we can see that this RDS DB instance has been launched successfully, and this is the endpoint name that will be associated to or with this DB instance. And the database traffic will be routed with respect to this endpoint or keeping this endpoint. So the entire data traffic will be routed to this endpoint that's being associated with my DB instance. Now, the backing or the backup has been created automatically in the form of snapshots. If I just go on the left side on the snapshot section, you can see that the snapshot is being automatically created. You can see over here, snapshot type automated. Okay, so it automatically creates my snapshots at the back end. Okay, they are continuous in nature, and you can retrieve. You can just click on restore snapshot and get store a duplicate database instance from the snapshot. Okay, because you can't access the snapshot directly, you have to create a duplicate instance, and then you can access the data. And if you want to perform any kind of modification, for example, while this DB instance is being selected, you need to go to Actions. On the top, go to Instance Actions, and you can just go to Modify. And you can increase the size of it, decrease the size. You can change the publicly accessible to yes or no. You can change the other settings as well. Okay, that you can do over here. So the modification it's quite possible. So my question is, when creating the snapshot of a volume, what will be the status? Will it be read, write, or read only? So the snapshot, it's read only. I would say not. The snapshot, it's read and write. So the snapshot's been created, it's been saved in the S3 bucket. So it's only, I would say, in the read and write mode. It writes the data to the S3 bucket in the form of snapshot. We can only read it if we create the duplicate DB instances out of it. So Vijay, the question is, master password is also possible to change at that time? Let me check that. Yeah, password can also be changed. You can see over here, new master password, it can be changed. Kamesh, your question is that, can we see the snapshot in S3? No, it's not possible. Even it's with the DB instance or the web instance, the snapshots that have been saved in the S3 bucket, it's not being accessible by us. It's being completely managed by the Amazon Web Services at the back end. Siva, you're saying I'm asking about the volume status. It will be read and write mode, both. While the snapshot's been created, it will be both in read and write mode. Okay. Kamesh is saying using API we can do no. Even you use the API, you use anything, the snapshots at the backend are being saved in the S3 bucket that you can't access. That thing is not accessible to anyone, even if you use any third-party API. Right. No, Kamesh, it's not possible, even if you know the snapshot ID, because this is a backend process. Right? So we don't have access or a transparency into the S3 buckets at the backend. All right. Now you need a third-party tool like MySQL Workbench. Now I don't have that installed on this PC right now, so you can just go to Google and just download Microsoft MySQL Workbench to access the MySQL database instance. It's called MySQL Workbench. So you can download that for free, and you can access that this third-party software to access your database. Okay. I'm not sure whether previously it was not available for Mac, but now I think they have released the Mac version as well. Give me 1 second. It will still take some time because they will ask for the login, the passwords, and all those kind of things. Okay, so you can download this software for free from the Google or from this website, and you can access these third-party softwares to access your database instances. All right. So that's it. Any questions, any doubts regarding the RDS? So RDS is the most common database version, or I would say the database option being used in the industry. Kamesh is saying how the load balancer works over here. Kamesh, load balancer never works on your database instances. Load balancer only works on the web instances. Okay. So we have the concept of multi-easy. We have discussed that. That ensures that your database instances are live and running. They're healthy. Load balancer and auto scaling concepts are only applicable on the front-end web application instances. Right. So we have seen different access scenarios and the deployment of the RDS DB instances. Now the next database option that we're going to discuss would be DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a NoSQL database option, and the data is being saved or managed in the form of tables. So let's discuss our Amazon DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a fully managed NoSQL database service that provides fast and predictable performance with a seamless scalability. It automatically spreads the data and traffic for the table over a sufficient number of servers to handle the request capacity specified by the customer and the amount of data stored, while maintaining the consistent and fast performance. So your entire data is being spread across different tables. These tables are being spread across different servers, across different facilities. All data items are stored on SSDs, solid state disks, and are automatically replicated across multiple availability zones in a region to provide built-in high availability and data durability. Okay, so let us shoot back to the management console and click on DynamoDB just underneath, which says Manage NoSQL Database. And once we click on that, we will see, so I have a table created. Let me just delete that. So you would create the tables to manage your entire database. It's a kind of a MongoDB kind of database. I haven't worked on MongoDB, honestly speaking, but the people who have used or worked upon the MongoDB, they're saying that it's the same kind of database option. I'm just deleting this table so that we can just create one from scratch. Okay, so I think it's been deleted now. Kamesh, your question is that will the questions come from the RDS or DynamoDB? Yes, of course. From the DynamoDB, you can't expect more than one question. Okay. DynamoDB is mainly used for the gaming applications, for the gaming web applications, for the gaming interfaces. You may be asked a question that in which cases you would use a DynamoDB. DynamoDB is used for the edtech, mobile applications, and it's mainly used for the gaming applications development. Now, let me show you that over here. If I just go to the dashboard, you can see Amazon DynamoDB is a fast and flexible NoSQL database service for applications that need consistent single-digit millisecond latency at any scale. Its flexible data model and reliable performance make it a great fit for mobile, web, gaming, edtech, IoT, and many other applications. So you may get a question. I've seen this question. Which is a NoSQL database service that is being used for the gaming by the gaming developers? The preferred option, it's DynamoDB. Regarding the RDS, you may receive 1 or 2 questions for the multi-easy. Okay, because I haven't seen any other question apart from the multi-easy. I will show you that once we discuss the question and answers. I will show you what kind of questions come up. So normally they will ask you, or they will put some questions or 1 or 2 questions on the multi-easy concept. Okay. Apart from that, don't expect too many questions from the database options. Right. You will get most of the questions from the EBS, S3. You will get more questions from the load balancer, auto scaling, VPC, Route 53. Okay. So these IAM. So these are the important topics from where you get major chunk of questions. So I click on create table over here. Now let's take an example. In this example, we're gonna maintain our entire database of our employees working in one of the organizations. So I assign a name to this table. I will just name it as global employee list, and in the primary key, in the partition key, I will just type in employee name. The attribute type will be string. I can add sort key, and I will just type in role. That what's the role of this employee in the company, and the attribute type would be string. I just choose use default settings and click on yes create. Now once it is done, it's time for me to create the items within this table. I go to items and I can create item. The employee name that I would be, for example, Steve Jobs. Role, founder. I append one, let's suppose, number value, number of years he has spent in the company, let's suppose 25. I hit save. So that's how I can add more items. Let's suppose I just create another item, Tim Cook, role, CEO. I append a number attribute, number of years he has spent in the company, 15. Save. Let's create another item. I'll just name it as Rita Robinson. Role, business development manager. I append the number of years in the form of number attribute, 10. Okay. So I just go ahead and click on save. And this creates my entire list in this table. Now, if I want to perform any queries, I just click on query over here. And for example, in this entire list, I want to look for Tim Cook. So I just type in Tim Cook, type in start search, and this gives me the output. So that's how the queries are being performed at the back end automatically at the back end. So nothing much about the DynamoDB. It's more relevant for the developers or for the gaming application developers or mobile application developers. Okay, so there's nothing much we can say into this one right now. Any questions, any doubts? So if someone asks you which is a NoSQL database service that's being provided by the AWS and it's used for the development of the gaming applications, one simple question answer: DynamoDB. This is the only question that I'm seeing in the certification. No other question comes up. Okay. Somebody is saying, is it possible to import the data directly? I don't think so, Subhajit, because I'm not sure, because DynamoDB, it's their own proprietary database option. So I can't comment whether you can import the data to the DynamoDB, but yes, one thing you can do, you can import the data to the RDS. We can do that. We can use the service called Database Migration Service and import the data in-house from our data center to the RDS database options. We can do that. But for the DynamoDB, I think it's not possible. All right. So that's about the DynamoDB. The next database option that we're going to cover is the Redshift. Now we'll not do the practical session of the Redshift because it's a data warehouse service, which is not in the scope of this course. But yes, from the example perspective and from the knowledge point of view, it is quite important if you know that what a Redshift is. Let me just open this slide right now. Amazon Redshift. Amazon Redshift is a fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse that makes it simple and cost effective to analyze all your data using your existing business intelligence tools. So it's a data warehouse service. It is used to analyze your data, and it's used for the analytics and analyzing your data and everything. You can merge this data warehouse service with the existing business intelligence or BI tools. Amazon's Redshift's data warehouse architecture allows you to automate most of the common administrative tasks associated with provisioning, configuring, and monitoring a cloud data warehouse. In this case, the day-to-day administration and the maintenance task is being performed automatically at the back end. Whether it's provisioning, configuring, or monitoring, everything is being done automatically at the back end. It ensures that your data warehouse architects need to take care of the data warehouse that's being deployed using Redshift. The backups to the Amazon S3 are continuous, incremental, and automatic. Restores are fast. You can start querying in minutes while your data is being spooled down in the background. You can enable the disaster recovery across regions, which takes just few simple clicks. And what are the benefits you get out of it? First thing first, this is optimized for data warehousing. It uses columnar storage, data compression, and zone maps to reduce the amount of I/O needed to perform the queries. Amazon Redshift has a massively parallel processing MPB data warehouse architecture, parallelizing and distributing the SQL operations to take the advantage of all available resources. Now this works in such a way that you deploy the nodes at the back end. These are called nodes. These nodes are being provisioned by you. Now whenever you throw any SQL operation or run any SQL operation, that single operation is being distributed across multiple nodes at the back end. These nodes are interconnected with each other, and they will accomplish or they will process a single SQL operation in a parallel fashion. We call it as MPP, massively parallel processing. So this means your data will be processed much faster as compared to before. Right. It is scalable with a few clicks of the AWS Management Console or a simple API call. You can easily change the number or type of nodes in your cloud data warehouse as your performance or the capacity needs to change. No upfront costs. You pay only for the resources you provision. Fully managed, it handles all the work needed to manage, monitor, and scale your data warehouse, from monitoring the cluster health and taking the backups to applying patches and upgrades. All these things are being managed automatically at the back end. Other benefits, it's completely fault tolerant. So it facilitates the continuous monitoring of the health of the cluster and automatically re-replicates the data from the failed drives and replaces the nodes as necessary. So if any one of the disk or the nodes fail at the back end, they are being detected and replaced automatically at the back end without even your knowledge. So you don't have to take care about that what's running in the background. Automated backups. Automated snapshot feature continuously backups your new data on the cluster of Amazon S3. Fast restores. You can use any system or user snapshot to restore your cluster using the AWS Management Console or the Amazon Redshift APIs. Encryption. You can set up the Amazon Redshift to use the SSL to secure your data in transit and hardware accelerated AES 256 encryption for data at rest. So you will use the same service, KMS, to encrypt your data. Network isolation. You can run the Amazon Redshift inside the VPC to isolate your data warehouse cluster in your own virtual network and connect it to your existing IT infrastructure using industry standard encrypted IPsec VPN. So you can very well keep your Redshift cluster inside the private subnet of your VPC, and you can have an end-to-end VPN connection between the private subnet and your corporate data center. So by this way, you can ensure that your Redshift cluster is isolated and it's secure. Okay. So that's about Redshift. You may receive one question, but you don't have to deep dive into about the technical nitty-gritties. Which is a fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse service. If you see data warehouse, it means it's asking about the Redshift. That's it. You will not receive even a single question about from the Redshift because it is not in the scope of this course. There is a complete subject of the course on the Redshift. Okay, but just for the information, and just in case if you receive one question, it's important to know that what a Redshift is, or the basics of it. That we already discussed. Any questions, any doubts? So this completes our database options, including RDS, DynamoDB, and the Redshift. Any questions, any doubts before we can switch to another topic? Any questions, any doubts? So what you're saying, elastic cache is required for the exam? No, it's not necessary because I think it's still in the preview mode. It's not being fully used in the production environment. So you do not expect even a single question from the elastic cache. Okay? It's not important. That's what I'm not covering that. The most important database option is RDS. That's it. If you want to get familiar with most of the database options, or I would say if you cover the database option, almost 99% of questions will come from the RDS. You can expect one question from DynamoDB, and I think in rare scenario you'll receive one question from the Redshift. Otherwise, if you just take the database option, AWS mainly stresses upon the RDS. Okay. Kamesh is saying import export options do we have in RDS? Of course, Kamesh. There is a service called database migration service. So you can migrate your data in and out of the AWS using this service, database migration service, where you can migrate your in-house database to the RDS. Okay, you can create the migration. All right. Let's discuss our next topic, that is SNS, simple notification services. One second, please. Amazon Simple Notification Service, or in the short form we can call it as SNS. Amazon Simple Notification Service, or SNS, is a web service that coordinates and manages the delivery or sending of messages to subscribing endpoints or clients. You might have seen this thing. Sometimes you go to the website, you say, please subscribe to our newsletters. You click on subscribe, you just click on subscribe, and you start receiving the updates or the newsletters from that subscription that you have enrolled for before. It's the same thing over here. Through the SNS topic, what you do is you send the notifications to different parties, or you can call it as subscribers, in one single shot. In the Amazon SNS, there are two types of clients, publishers and subscribers. Publishers are the one, so you will be the publisher who would be pushing the notification, and the subscribers who would be subscribing to the topic. They are also referred as producers and consumers. One second, please. I think my screen got frozen. Okay. Publishers communicate. Sorry about that. Publishers communicate asynchronously with subscribers by producing and sending a message to a topic, which is a logical access point and communication channel. So what I do is that the publisher sends the message or push the message to the SNS topic. And the subscribers, they subscribe to the same topic. The subscribers, they can be web servers, email addresses, SQL queues, Lambda functions, consume or receive the message or notification over one of the supported protocols: SQS, HTTPS, email, SMS, Lambda, where they subscribe to the topic. So any one of these protocols are being used to subscribe to the topic. So whenever the subscribers subscribe to the topic, they start receiving the notifications based upon the protocols that they have chosen. When using the Amazon SNS, you as the owner create a topic and control access to it by defining policies that determine which publishers and subscribers can communicate with the topic. So over here, the topic is the common component. A publisher sends the message to the topics that they have created or to the topics they have permission to publish to. Instead of including a specific destination address in each message, a publisher sends the message to the topic. So what happens in this case is the publisher will not send the individual messages to all the subscribers. He will just push the message to the topic, and the topic will forward that message to all the subscribers. The Amazon SNS matches the topic to a list of subscribers who have subscribed to the topic and delivers the message to each of the subscribers. Each topic has a unique name that identifies the Amazon SNS endpoint for publishers to post the messages and subscribers to register for notifications. Subscribers receive all messages published to the topics to which they subscribe, and all subscribers to a topic receive the same messages. So in a nutshell, let me try to explain that one thing by just creating a diagram. So this works in such a way that you create a topic. Right? You have a topic in between. You call it as SNS topic. You act as a publisher who publish the topic, push that any message to the topic. This message will distribute the message to all the subscribers. Okay. So instead of this publisher sending the individual notification to each and every subscriber, he would just push the message to the topic. The topic will forward the message to all the subscribers that have been subscribed to it. Let's do one thing. Let's shoot back to the Maven console. And I click on SNS, push notification service. Now over here on the left side, I go to topics, and let's click on create a new topic. You can see the definition over here. A topic name will be used to create a permanent unique identifier called the Amazon resource name. So I name this topic as ELB health check. We can do one thing. We will create or specify the healthy host count for our elastic load balancer. So let me just go back to my instance dashboard. And I just launched 2 instances real quick. Just give me 1 second over here. Then let me just use the script to launch the instances. And I just launched 2 instances real quick. just copy and paste it properly. Sure, what's going on. Okay. So now we'll add storage, tag instance, configure security group. I set this in keep here and launch my instances. Now, as this instance have been launched right now, let me just launch a load balancer real quick. I think it's running right now. So I'll add these two different load balancers over here and hit save. So these instances will come and throws after some time. Now I just go to the SNS and create a new topic. I'll just name it as ELB underscore healthy underscore host count. I'm creating this topic so that I can specify or I can get to know that these many healthy instances should show up for the load balancer. So if it goes beyond a certain point, in that case, I should be notified. So I, in the display, just type in ELB health. And I click on create topic. So this topic has been created. This topic has been created as of now. Now, I need to, give me 1 second, please. I need to create a subscription now. So I just go to subscriptions on the left side and click on create subscription. Now, if I type in the enter the topic ARN, so I think I need to go to topics now, and I just copy this ARN over here. Go to my subscriptions on the left side. Oh, 1 second. Subscriptions, create subscription, and copy and this paste this ARN. I'm sorry, I think it's not copied properly. I go to the topic again. Go to its Amazon resource name and just try to copy then paste this Amazon resource name ARN again. Copy this one, go to subscription, create a new one. Okay, it's been copied and pasted. The protocol would be email, and I will just type in my email address so that I receive the email for this topic. So first thing first, what I did is I just create a simple topic, and now I'm subscribing to this topic. So I click on create subscription. So it will send me a subscription email. So let me just go to my email address right now, or the inbox. I sign in. So now I can subscribe to this notification. I think it has not sent me the alarm yet. Hang on 1 second. Okay, it just got to this the spam folder. So I click on confirm subscription, which means that once I do that, I'm subscribed to this topic named ELB underscore healthy underscore house underscore cast. So I am the subscriber. I am the subscriber to this topic. Now, who is the publisher? I would use CloudWatch as a publisher. If I just refresh this page right now, it will show me that I'm subscribed to this topic, my email address. Now, I'll go back to the Mammoth console and I go to CloudWatch. In the CloudWatch, I say on the left side, I go to Browse Metrics, or I just click on Browse Metrics over here. And under the ELB, I'll just go to Per LB Metrics. And now, once I scroll down, I would select this metric which says Healthy House Count. This one. Healthy house count, which means how many housed are healthy for the load balancer. And now I click on Create Alarm. I will name it as ELB, Healthy Host Count. I copy and paste in the same thing in the description. Now I would say if the healthy house count is less than 2, and this happens for one consecutive period, and the period I will show up as 1 minute. In that case, the status alarm, and send a notification to, click on New List and type in your, you have to select the topic name. Hang on 1 second, please. So I just type in ELB. Hang on 1 second. I can select list, and I choose my ELB underscore healthy count. So this is the SNS topic that I'll be choosing, and it would automatically choose the subscriber list, and I click on Create Alarm. So now my CloudWatch alarm is being created. I go back to my load balancer. So it will take some time for this CloudWatch alarm to be active, so we have to wait for some time. Right now it will show us as the alarm in the alarm state. Let's go back to our instance, this ELB dashboard. And I can see that these are still showing out of service. I think why I need to change the ping path. Okay, let's wait for some time. They're showing in service now, which means that now these houses are healthy. Let me refresh that. So after a few seconds, it will show up as me as OK. And let's check our email. Okay. Let's wait. Eventually it will go to the state of OK, then we can just test this alarm. Hang on 1 second, please. Okay, we got this alarm because the healthy host count, well, it went below 1 at that point of time. and I think it should be fixed now. Not sure why it's not coming to the OK state, but anyhow, you can see that my healthy host count went below 2 because my sensors were not in service, and therefore I just received this message or this email because I was subscribed to the SNS topic. The CloudWatch was acting as the publisher, and it published this alarm to all the subscribers when my healthy host went below 2 for my ELB. Okay, so that's how the SNS topic are being used to push the messages. So that's about the SNS. Any questions, any doubts? Okay, you can see that the CloudWatch has come into the OK state. I was wondering why so. Let's do one more thing. Let's go to the load balancer and let me remove one of the healthy host count. I remove one instance from the load balancer, which means my healthy host count will go below 2. And now let's see whether the CloudWatch goes to the alarm state after some time, and then it should publish an SNS topic. It should publish the message to the SNS topic, and the SNS topic will publish to the email to my email address because I'm the subscriber. We need to wait for a few seconds more. Ramakrishna is saying, can I even receive the email from AWS to pay money? Otherwise, I might lose my AWS subscription. I think you're talking about billing. Yeah, of course, Ramakrishna, if you have to pay some money for the lab sessions, then you have to pay. Otherwise, they will block your account. Somebody is saying, can you create the alert from the ELB? No, you can't do from the ELB. You will use a CloudWatch for that in that case. Okay. So right now, it's trying to detect eventually it will to go to the alarm state after some time. Okay, it has gone to the alarm state, you can see over here, and now I should receive, after some time I should receive an email. You can see over here. Because I'm subscribed to the topic, the CloudWatch published the message to the topic, and the topic sent me this email as I'm the subscriber. You can see over here, this one. Okay. So that's about the SNS. Any questions regarding this one? I'm just pausing for a few seconds. I think we don't have any questions as of now. We can move forward. Kamesh, your question is that do we have any queue services like GMS? We have simple queue services that we're going to discuss in the white paper. I'm not sure about the GMS, but yes, we have the queue services called simple queue services or SQS that we're going to discuss once we discuss the white paper. We have that. All right. Now, the next service that we're going to discuss is the Trusted Advisor, this one. Trusted Advisor you can locate under Management Tools, this one. What's a Trusted Advisor? It's a dashboard where you can see the overall performance of your architecture. So let's discuss that. There's no configuration required, but you should be aware that why you need the Trusted Advisor, why there's a need for that. The Trusted Advisor monitors the overall performance of your environment. It checks for any security loopholes. It works in 4 different categories: cost optimization, security, fault tolerance, and performance. So you can say that the Trusted Advisor, it's a complete dashboard that gauges the performance of your architecture. If you have any security loopholes, then you can fulfill that. If you have any kind of components that can be created or configured to enhance the performance of your architecture, to make your design more fault tolerant, or to optimize the cost, it will give you certain recommendations. That's why I call it as the Trusted Advisor. Now this entire dashboard you can see over here, it works in 4 different categories: cost optimization, performance, security, and fault tolerance. Once you scroll down, these are the recommended actions for you to perform. The first one is the security groups, which says specific ports are restricted. Now, if you have any of the security groups in which you have allowed the RDP or SSH access from anywhere, it will show you the list of those security groups so that you can modify that. So you can, for example, I can click on Route 53 S3, for which I have allowed the RDP 3389 traffic from any source. So I can click on that one and correct my configuration. So if any one of the security groups are letting your instances exposed to some potential threats, it will let you know those security groups that you can go and you can block those ports. MFA on root account. MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. If you can recall, it's used to generate the code on our smartphones through which we can use to log into our sub accounts, right? It is used as a third-party authentication. Just give me a second over here. Guys, I'm sorry. I think you're not getting audio from my side. I think you hear me right now. I was not on mute, but might be some issue. Can you hear me right now? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't see the question pane. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I repeat. So I just go back to the dashboard and start from scratch. Thanks for confirming, sign. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't see the question pane. Otherwise, I would have stopped earlier. I was in a flow where I was just explaining the concepts. So, hang on one second, please. Let me see what's wrong at the back end. All right, so I'll start from scratch. This is a Trusted Advisor dashboard where you can gauge the performance of your infrastructure in 4 different categories: cost optimization, performance, security, and fault tolerance. Now, if you want to see any security groups in which you have kept your RDP or the assets port open, it will show you a list of that. Multi-factor authentication or MFA on root account. Now, as per the AWS recommendation, it is always advisable that you enable the multi-factor authentication on root accounts. IAM use. It will show you whether you are using the IAM, whether you have the users, groups, roles, policies being created. Service limits. Now, if you're exceeding your service limits because, for example, you are being there are some limitations that are being imposed. If you're somewhere down the line, if you are more than or you're exceeding 80% of the service limit, then you will get the notification. For example, for each region, I can't have more than 5 VPCs. I can't create more than 5 internet gateways. I can't have more than 5 elastic IPs. Right? So in any one of the cases, if I'm somewhere exceeding the 80% of the pre-described service limit, I will get a notification over here. Now, rest options you can't see because it's being blocked. This is a free-to account that I'm using right now. If I click on upgrade, I can upgrade to any one of the following options to access my other Trusted Advisor recommendations. For example, under the basic plan, this is a free-to account. I don't get more than 4 core Trusted Advisor checks. All right. If I go with the developer plan, which cost me $29 per month, in that case, I can get more. I will get only 4 Trusted Advisor checks, but I will get to access to technical support, unlimited contacts, and the priority of my tickets and the general guidance. Under the business, you get more or access to all the Trusted Advisor checks, high priority of your tickets, unlimited contacts, and unlimited cases. And you will get almost everything, but this will cost you $100 per month. If you go with enterprise support, then you have to pay $15,000 per month. All right. So your organizations will go with any one of these plans. I think most of the organizations go with the business plan because it's cost effective, and you almost get almost everything under this package. Now on the left side, if I just go to the cost optimization, now these all options are grayed out because it's a free-to account, but I can just explain to you what these options are all about. Cost optimization means that if your resources are not utilized for the to the full potential, or they are being underutilized, in that case, it means that you're wasting your resources. You will get a list of those resources that you can get rid of. For example, Might be you have a low utilized Amazon EC2 instance, which is showing you the CPU utilization for less than 10% or less, and network I/O with less than 5 MB or less on 4 or more days. In that case, it means that your instance is not being utilized to the fullest potential. It is better that you get rid of that to save your cost. Might be you have some load balancers that are sitting idle, that are doing nothing. So you can just remove those load balancers to save your cost. Underutilized ABS volumes. If your ABS volumes are not showing up too many frequent input and output operations, it is better that you get rid of those volumes. Unassociated elastic IP addresses. By default, you get 5 elastic IPs free for one region. However, if you don't assign the elastic IPs to any one of the running instances, or they're sitting idle, then even a free elastic IP becomes chargeable. So if any unallocated or unassociated elastic IP is residing in your account, it will show a list of the elastic IP. You can better release that elastic IP from your account. Any kind of RDS DB instance that's sitting idle. So any kind of resource that's sitting idle and it's adding to your cost, you can get rid of that. All right. On the left side, we have performance. Performance means that is there any service limits that you're exceeding, or might be there are some instances that are being highly utilized. In few cases, you may experience that your instance is getting CPU utilization for more than 90 days or 4 or more days. In that case, you can launch more instances to see whether the average CPU utilization of your group or the architecture goes down. You have a large number of rules in a security group, because you can't have more than 50 rules in a security group. If you have, then it is always recommended that you remove the rules or you create a new security group from scratch. And overutilize ABS magnetic volumes. So if there's so many input and output operations going on with respect to ABS volumes or magnetic volumes, then you'll get the notification, because the magnetic volumes are not meant for the input and output operations. They are just used as a cold storages. Okay? Because the IOPS rate is not guaranteed on the magnetic volumes. So in that case, if you think that your magnetic volumes are receiving too many IOPS performance or IOPS operations, it is better that you either provision the general purpose SSD or the provision IOPS. Okay. So over here, it will give you the recommendations that how you can enhance the performance of your entire infrastructure. Now on the left side, we have security. So we already discussed the security, security groups. We have discussed the multi-factor authentication, IAM. Now there are other things, for example, S3 bucket permissions in the form of bucket policies, whether they're being applied or not, IAM password policy, Cloudflare logging, expose access keys, IAM key access rotation. So any one of the things that you can incorporate to make your architecture more secure, it will give you a recommendation based upon that. On the left side, we have fault tolerance. So any other things that are missing or should be there to make our design more fault tolerant, it will show up over here. For example, it will see whether we have the snapshots, whether we have the load balancer optimized, whether we have the auto-scaling group resources created, RDS backups, multi-easy, auto-scaling group health check. Okay. So any kind of these things, for example, Route 53 name server delegations, TTL resource record sets, deleted health checks, on the Route 53, because what happens is in the Route 53, even if you delete the health check, if the health check is not deleted, in that case it will add to your cost. So a health check, if it's not working, it should be deleted from your account. Cross-zone load balancing, connection training. Okay, so these are the resources that help you to make your design more fault tolerant. I think we have discussed almost all of these. Okay, load balancer, snapshots, RDS, multi-easy, auto scanning. Route 53, we already discussed that. Okay, cross-zone load balancing, connection training, S3 bucket versioning. So it will give you the recommendation that how you can make your design more fault tolerant. If those things are missing from your account, it will show you the list of those components. That's why it's called a trusted advisor. You can trust on it. So it automatically checks for any loopholes in your account, in your architecture, and give you certain recommendations to improve the overall performance of your infrastructure. Somebody is saying, can we specify user account to access trusted advisor, or is it possible to restrict access if it's user-wise? I'm not sure, but yes, of course, I think this trusted advisor can be also restricted through the IAM. If I go to the IAM and go to the policies, let me check one thing over here. Give me 1 second. So I think we don't have any policy for the trusted advisor. No. Hang on 1 second, let me just check that. No, there's no policy for the trusted advisor because it's just a dashboard. It's just a dashboard, so there's no policy over there. All right. So we didn't know through the trusted advisor you can't modify anything. A trusted advisor is just a dashboard. That's it. It's just a dashboard. Even though it can redirect me to other page, for example, if I go to the trusted advisor, I go to security groups and I can click on any one of these. But if I don't have access to modify the security groups as a sub account, even though it takes me to the security group dashboard, I will not be able to perform this operation. So this is just a dashboard. You can't configure or you can't modify any resource unless if you have access to modify that resource from the IAM perspective. All right. So it is a dashboard. That's it. Any questions, any doubts you guys have? Anything you want to add? So today we have covered the KMS, key memory service. We have covered our database option RDS. Hang on 1 second. So we have covered the KMS, RDS, DynamoDB, Redshift, SNS, and we have covered our trusted advisor. Any questions, any doubts? So these are the 4 or 5 topics we have covered. 5 topics we have covered today. No, 4, 5, 6 topics we have covered today. Any questions regarding these topics? KMS, RDS, DynamoDB, Redshift, SNS, Trusted Advisor. Regarding the SNS, I will give you an assignment, or let me give you the assignments for today. I'll give you the assignments for the for the RDS and the DynamoDB. These are the assignments that show you the step-by-step procedure that how you can create the tables and you can create your database instances. Let me show you that. So this is about the DynamoDB, how to create the tables, how to define the different attributes, their types. Okay, and this is about the MySQL database engine. So I've described each and every step one by one. Apart from that, so let me just copy and paste these two documents for you. So today is 9th session. Okay, and let me give you one assignment from the SNS, simple notification service. I think this is the one. I don't have for the SNS. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for the SNS, but I've given two different one for the DynamoDB and one for the RDS. Okay, I don't have the one created for the SNS. Okay. So you can access the assignment in the session 9 folder, this one. Kamesh, you want the Redshift PPT slide? Okay, I'll just do that. Hang on 1 second. I am just copying this this slide. I go back to the Google Drive and paste it for you. Okay, it's been done. Okay, you need the PPT for Venkat. You're saying for the access scenarios for RDS. Okay, I'll just do that right now. VPC and RDS. I'm copying and pasting this RDS slide as well for the access scenarios. I'm copying this one and pasting it over here. So it's been done now. For the SNS, Robert is saying, all right. What is that? I'm copying the SNS slide and going back to the Google Drive and paste it over here. Done. Okay. Robert is saying I already paid 34 rupees, but not asking for 486. Kamesh, okay, this is being asked by Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna, first thing first is that first thing you have to see whether you have some resources running at the back end. It's a very quite common thing that we launch some instances, some resources at the back end, and we forget to remove them. Elastic IPs, load balancers. So you have to see that. Also, under the billing and cost management, you get the breakdown of each and every service that you have used. So if they're asking for the 486, means that you have to pay for that. Otherwise, they will block your account. So we are saying it is not relevant, but at the end of session tomorrow, is it possible to show transfer of instance via snapshot to different region? Subhajit, the thing is, a snapshot transferring to other region will take a hell lot of time, because even it's a 1 GB or 2 GB of snapshot, it will take some time to move over or copy over the snapshot from one region to another, because that will be done through the internet. Okay, so that would take some time. But the thing is, the procedure is same. It is shows that I think I've showed you that thing. If you have to copy over the snapshot to the region, once you create the snapshot, you right click on that one. I'm not sure that I have some snapshot created. Hang on 1 second. So it's one thing is that once you create the snapshot, then you can copy over. Kamesh is saying it takes 5 minutes. I'm not sure, Kamesh, because I've seen that. But sometimes it takes longer as compared to 5 minutes. But there's nothing anything technical about it, because if you create a snapshot, if you go to the volumes right now, and let's do one thing. I don't have this drawing, I think. Give me 1 second. Let me create a 1 GB of volume. Okay, I am in a different region. So let's suppose you create a volume of 1 GB, right? And you create a snapshot out of it. Go to actions, create a snapshot. So once you go to the snapshot ID, you need to right click on this one, and you can just go to copy, and from Northern California, let's suppose I go to North Virginia. So I click on copy over here. It will be copied over. It has been initiated. So view the snapshot space to check the progress. So I think it will take some time. Let me see that. It's been completed. That's good. So I go to my, okay. So this has been copied now. It's been copied, right? So from North California, I copied over to a different region in North Virginia. So I think it took less than 5 minutes. So from here, okay. So it is saying during attaching old volume in lieu of existing volume, it's not associating. It should do that. It should do that. Because once I copied over the snapshot, I can retain duplicate volumes out of it. And that volume can be attached to my instances. So it should associate. I'm not sure whether you're getting some error message or what's going on. Kamesh is saying, can we delete the root volume from the instance? Kamesh, deleting the root volume will corrupt your instance. Reason being because the root volume contains your AMI and the image files. So logically speaking, it's not possible. Even if you're trying to perform that operation, it will corrupt your instance. Okay. So Subhajit, you have to let me know what's the exact message you're getting, because I copied over the snapshot for you. From this snapshot, I can create duplicate volumes in another region, and I can subsequently attach it to the volume to the instance. So you have to let me know what's the exact message you're getting. Because from the snapshot, I just create a duplicate volume. That's it. So I'm not sure whether using a Linux instance or a Windows instance. I'm not sure about it. All right, I guess that's all for today. Tomorrow we're gonna discuss our CloudWatch, CloudTrail, CloudFormation, Beanstalk, and OpsWork. So these are the 4 or 5 topics that we're gonna discuss tomorrow, and also we're gonna discuss 2 or 3 white papers. All right. Yeah, so you can let me know. So regarding the interview questions, I'll discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow or in the next session, if I take the extra sessions, I'll discuss the real-time question and answers with you. Venkat is saying any single place where I can get all study material for AWS certification. Venkat, unfortunately, there's no single place available. The only trusted source as of now is aws.amazon.com/documentation. There's no other reliable source. Now, the people who are in the US, there's a good news for you. Amazon Web Services, they have released their first official guide, but they would be giving that in the month of October. You can book it, that guide right now, but you will get that book in the month of October. Let me show you. It's called, let me show you that, Amazon.com. Now they just released this book. Now, for the very first time, they have released their book. It's good news. So if you go to Amazon.com, just type in AWS official guide. So I'm not sure whether they'll send it across to India or not. So this will cost you $46.45 US. Now this is a pre-order release. The title has not been released yet. You have to pre-order it, and you will get this in the month of, I think, October or November. So for the people in the United States, you can order it if it's possible for you. I'm not sure whether they will ship it across to India, because this book is not available on Amazon.in, but it's available on Amazon.com. Because I got about this book from the announcement during a meeting that I was attending a few days back. So I'm not sure what is there in this book, but of course, if I get an opportunity, I will just order it and get it at my place so that I can just go through it, what updates they have included in this book. I'm copying and pasting this link for you. So in the month of October, this book would be released. The people who are in the United States, they can pre-order it. Okay? That's the official guide. So I think this was just updated 3 or 4 days back. Yeah, Kamish, it's showing November today. Yesterday, I checked this web page. It was showing October, not showing November. So it might be tomorrow if I log in again, it will show December. So that's why I didn't order it, because it's still in the pre-order stage. Once this book gets released, I will do anything to get a hand on it. So within 2 or 3 months, we'll get the first book released by AWS, which it's a good news for us. Azur, your question is, can we have some exam terms which can help? Azur, unfortunately, there's nothing called examination terms available on the AWS. There's nothing like that. Because the Amazon Web Services, first thing first, they don't have a very good strategy for the examination. You can't compare that with the Microsoft and Cisco, because they're still in the development stage. So if someone guarantees you that they have the exam terms, so the chances is less than 20% that those questions will come up. So if some websites promise you that you pay them $100 and you can clear the examination, please don't fall into that trap. Okay. If you have a sound knowledge on ELB, EBS, auto scanning, S3, VPC, if you have a sound knowledge on these topics, you can at least clear the examination. The passing score is just 65%. Okay. Kamit is saying, what is the project assignment related to? I think you're talking about the Adorica's LMS side. I think, yeah, they have some assignments for installing the LAMP server and all those kind of things. So you can go through it and you can perform the project and you can submit it. All right. Okay, Azhar is saying, can you share the drive location where the seminar kept once again? Of course, I will do that. I think, Kamesh, you're talking about this one, right? I'm not sure. That might be some other thing. I'm not sure what project you're talking about. I think they might be talking about this one. This is some other thing. Kamesh, regarding the hands-on project, I'll give you the hands-on project tomorrow if you want to do that. It's a lengthy project. Okay. I'm dragging and dropping this folder called project for you guys. It's a complete document with the project that you can do where you can host your web app on the Amazon Web Services. Okay, it's a 23-page document where you can host a web application using some scripts, HTML scripts, create a fault-tolerant kind of design. It's a complete 26-page document. So this would be your project for this entire course. You will launch your RDS DB instance. You will integrate the RDS database instance with your web instance so that these two web and the database instances can talk to each other. You will deploy your app using this code. You will run these scripts. This is a Linux-based Drupal website that you will launch. You will create the snapshot, okay, and everything. So I'm copying and pasting this project thing for you. Just copying this one, and I'm pasting that in the over here. All right. Wenger, what's the link that you have given to me? I'm not sure. Azhar, if you're not able to see more than 4 assignments, just give me your email address so that I can add you to the Google Drive from my place so that you can get access to all the contents. You can revert with your email ID. I just add it to the drive. Okay, Azhar and Sai, I'm ending your email so that if you're facing some trouble accessing, then you can access all the documents. Okay, Sai, I've also copied and pasted your email ID. and now you can view all the documents after a few seconds. All right. Venkat is saying this book is available online for purchase. It's recommended. Let me see this link. It's an interesting thing. So this is the link that you have shared. Let me see that. Oh, but this is cost you 18 US dollars more, 60 US dollars, and we're not sure whether they ship to India or not. Check. I think India is not here on the list. Yeah, it's there. You can order it, but I'm not sure, because if the Amazon Web Services is taking that in the pre-order, then how they will send it across? Not sure about it right now. But they are charging more as compared to AWS. They're charging more. But it's a good thing you have shared this link with me. I've shared this link with other people as well, so that they can go through it. Thank you about that. But I'm saying that if it's a pre-order, you can see over here, October 2016. So it's a pre-order thing. So if you have to pre-order, then why you have to pay more amount? So still it is asking me 18 US dollars more. It's better that you buy it from the Amazon Web Services directly, so that it costs lesser. Okay. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for your time and patience. Yes, Kavish, we have to learn Obswork. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay. So thank you so much for your time and patience. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, and goodbye. And last but not the least, please fill in the feedback form. All right. Bye-bye.